Well, got another week of my internship down. Just a couple more to go, but I feel like at this point we're kind of winding down towards the last test we're going to do on my material, economics, at the end of this week. And kind of looking back on last week and kind of tying it into the span of the internship overall, I kind of feel like at this point what I've realized is that at the middle school level, or at least with the kids I'm with, 7th graders, they're going to learn something about the content, whether it's social studies or science, math, what have you. They're going to learn something. They're going to come away with some new knowledge, some new, practice with thought processes and critical thinking and all that good stuff from the content itself. But really, what it seems like for this age group, what's most important, at least in my mind, is helping them practice and learn a new skill set. And specifically, I'm thinking literacy skills, study skills, study habits, note-taking skills, kinds of things that'll help them not only next year in 8th grade, but in high school and on into college if they choose to go that route. What was most shocking to me, I think, in the first few weeks of observing my classes and then getting into actually teaching was the skills that they don't have, as far as paraphrasing, working with vocabulary, and note-taking skills. I would often get a lot of responses like, should we be writing this down? And, I just take for granted that, I know what to write down. I have a pretty good idea how to take good notes. But, my kids really, maybe they haven't been pushed to do something like that up to this point in their, academic lives. So, kind of what I'm taking away so far, or at least, at this point towards the end of the internship, is that, if I do find myself teaching the middle school age group, I really want to focus on working on skills, on skill sets. And I already kind of have this in the back of my head, because a lot of the things that I do in the classroom tie into reading and literacy skills, and these other, note-taking skills. And that's where I think things like note frames help a lot. Things like the concept attainment and the framing routines, whether you use them in the same format or whether, as I do, I prefer to take it and mix it around and make it look like something of my own rather than just copying and pasting the frames. But I just feel like the skills that they have, I was, like I said, I was a little shocked at first. And now, having been here for 8 to 10 weeks, something like that, of teaching, I've really just come to this conclusion that, at this level, not all the kids, maybe not even a majority, will really grasp the content area, especially if you're talking about something like economics, where it's so complex and it's hard to get into, the real details of it at this level. But, just from interacting with the kids and going through activities and lessons for the past several weeks now, it really drove home this point. And I actually discussed this with a school administrator that I interviewed with last week on Thursday, not from my school, but from a neighboring or a nearby district. And we just kind of got on this discussion of, at this level, teachers really should be thinking about preparing their students for the next level, for high school. And not taking it personally when the students don't grasp the knowledge of the content area the way that we do as the teacher. And that's another area I've grown, I think, over the course of the internship, has been understanding that these kids, when they don't get something the first time, it's typically it's not because they don't like you, or it's nothing personal against me per se as the teacher. It's just more of this idea that some of it is hard for them to grasp, the content knowledge. A lot of this stuff, especially economics, it's the first time that they've been exposed to it. And I kind of at first took for granted that, why aren't you getting this? But now what I'm seeing is the more I focus on the simple skill sets, it's really helping them to bring that knowledge into something more manageable, whether it's learning how to take better notes that will then help them study better, or learning how to kind of put something into your own words to make it make sense to you, rather than trying to memorize what the textbook is saying, or something like that. And really where I want to go from here is, I'm hoping to see, because what I've noticed on quizzes and tests is that my students are really good at memorizing the definitions of our vocabulary words, but when it comes to answering a question, even if it's a multiple choice question, where they have to take that basic knowledge and then apply it to a new situation or make an inference about the knowledge, that's where they really struggle. And that's where I think, as middle school teachers, if that's where I'm going to end up at some point in the future, teachers at this level really need to focus on turning that, bridging that gap from the basic knowledge up to the higher levels of thinking, the higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy, the higher of the 6 facets of understanding, and really just kind of getting the kids ready to do more advanced thinking, more critical thinking, problem solving type skills that will eventually benefit them in high school, in college, or even in jobs that aren't necessarily related to the academic fields. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about where I am right now, and I'm excited to see how this last week ends up. And until then, check back and I'll keep you posted.